Hello everyone and welcome to another video. Today we are back, most importantly, and we are back in Warframe for another build. And this time we're having a look at Mesa Prime. I haven't really touched this Warframe in a long time, mostly because the only real content I ever used her in was just bounties, because she's just the best Warframe for bounties in my opinion, since, well, auto-aiming, great range, and usually enemies in bounties aren't that high level. But with the introduction of all those new Arcanes mods and so much more, she's actually kind of fun to play now, although yeah, it's still a little bit gimmicky. But yeah, she just looks amazing, so I had to give her another chance. And let me tell you, I'm actually kind of surprised. But that's all for introductions, so let's now jump into the build. Starting from Mesa's abilities. Her passive allows her to make pistols just straight up better, because dual-wielding sidearms will fire 15% faster and single-handed ones will instead reload a lot faster. She also gains 50 bonus HP while not using melee weapons, but that's not gonna happen for us because we actually do need the melee weapon. Now, her first ability usually is not Nourish, but I still think it's the one you should replace, so that's why I'm using Nourish instead. And that's for the additional viral damage and also to gain a lot more free energy. Then her second ability is called Shooting Gallery, and this will make it so you and any other ally that you may happen to have in your squad will get this damage buff. If you're playing with teammates, it will just bounce between all of you, and the duration will then be shared. Then we have her third ability called Shatter Shield, and this just allows you to have a lot of damage reduction, and this comes in the form of projectile redirection, so you're actually taking a little bit of damage from projectiles, but any melee enemy will actually deal full damage to you, so keep that in mind and try to kill all the melee enemies you see in range, because those are actually the big threat for Mesa. Now, one way to actually counter this melee problem with enemies is just having your Shooting Gallery active, because this will also jam enemies' gun, and this also includes melee guns or weapons. I don't know how that's a thing, but it basically makes it so that enemies are stunned for a brief amount of time, and well, you can just like roll out of the way and shoot them with your Regulators, and that's how you deal with melee enemies. If you're planning to use a Sentinel with Mesa, I'd recommend a little bit more radius on this build, because that will actually make it so your Sentinel is inside the radius of your Shatter Shield and protect the Sentinel as well. And then we have her best ability by far, which is Peacemaker. This is Mesa's exalted weapons, and these are called Regulators. While in Peacemaker you have this reticle that will shrink as long as you're firing your weapons, and it also increases in size if you are moving around, but it's just better to recast ability. It's just faster, and that will reset the reticle to its full size, which is usually the best way to actually use Regulators, because you're able to hit more enemies. But if you want to focus just one single target, you will stay in your Peacemaker, make the reticle as small as possible, because the smaller the reticle, the more damage you're dealing. Now moving to the Archon Shards, I went for 2 orange Topaz Shards with increased crit chance on my secondary weapons, and this will also apply to Regulators because they are considered a secondary weapon. Then I have Parkour Velocity and Cast Speed, just for personal preference. If you want more damage, definitely check some other Archon Shards, and you can replace this shoe for whatever you like, but I find them very convenient, especially while we are in R4, because we're going to be using Mesa's augment that lets us move at 50% speed, so actually some Parkour Velocity is it's kind of nice to have. And the last spot is for something else you want to add. I went for another Topaz Shard with instead ability damage on enemies affected by radiation, and since Peacemaker is considered an ability, we are dealing 50% more multiplicative damage on enemies affected by radiation. And this is the build I'll be using today. In my aura slot I have Growing Power for 25% more ability strength for 6 seconds after applying a status effect with my weapons. That can also include your Peacemakers, so just keep that in mind. Great aura to have in general. Then Mesa's Vaults in the extra slot, and once again this is because we want to move while being in our 4, so our Peacemaker. We're only going to be able to move at 50% speed, but thanks to Parkour Velocity we can roll around, and it's actually quite alright to reposition yourself somewhere else. Then Prime Continuity and Narrow-Minded for more ability duration. This kind of kills our range, so once again, if you need more range because you're using a Sentinel, you can replace like Rolling Guard or Adaptation and have a Sentinel, and that should be enough range for you to cover your Sentinel as well. Prime Flow for more energy max, Augur Secrets, Umbral Intensify and Transient Fortitude all for more ability strength, and then Adaptation for more damage resistance, and Rolling Guard, so whenever we roll, we get 3 seconds of invulnerability, and the cooldown on this is 7 seconds. But you can absolutely replace one of these two for whatever you prefer, because it's probably just a little bit overkill. And then for Arcanes, which are gonna be actually the big thing for this build, I am using Arcane Hotshot for more weapon crit chance when our abilities inflict hit status. This goes all the way up to 50 stacks, which means we can get a beautiful 300% weapon crit chance, which also, once again, applies to our Peacemaker. And the other arcane that I think it's kind of niche on this build, but I do really like it, it's actually Arcane Impetus. And the reason why I think this is actually a pretty cool arcane is because with our Peacemaker, we'll be applying 7 different statuses, and that means we get a massive 42% ability strength and an additional 21% ability efficiency for 20 seconds, as long as we're applying statuses, and we'll be definitely applying statuses with our Peacemakers because they fire oh so damn fast. And talking about Regulators, this is the build I'll be using on these two little guns. Galvanized Diffusion and Little Torrent for a massive amount of multi-shot and additionally more fire rate, Prime Pistol Gambit and Prime Target Tracker for crit chance and crit damage, Hornet Strike for more damage, Magnetic Might for more magnetic damage and critical damage, Accelerated Isotope for more radiation damage and fire rate, and that's why I went for that Topaz Shard with more damage on enemies affected by radiation, and finally Prime Heated Charge with more heat damage. There's no need for an Exilus mod because they are all quite whatever, and for the arcane I'm using Secondary Outburst, and this arcane allows us to convert the combo count on our melee weapon into crit chance and crit damage for our secondary weapon, and this will apply once again to our Regulators, so that's a lot of crit chance and crit damage we get for 20 seconds with very little work, and since our melee weapon would have just been useless anyway, at least this way we gain some nice stats instead of just not keeping a melee weapon and only getting 50 HP. Now moving to the weapons, you can use any primary weapon you like. This is the one I'll be using, which is the Exergus, and this is the build. I have a full guide and video for this weapon specifically. I think it's quite fun, but you can, once again, use whatever you like. The secondary of choice for me is going to be the Grimoire, and this is because this weapon can equip Res Invocation, which increases our ability duration by a lot, and also for secondary dexterity for an additional 7.5 seconds of combo duration for our melee weapons. And talking about melee weapons, the one I'll be using is going to be the Mesa Prime, but you can use any Incarnon that can build a lot of combo or that can just have a lot of initial combo. And the reason why I'm using Mesa Prime is because it has a unique trait that makes it so combo multiplier is 13 instead of 12, and this will be important because once again, on our Prime Regulators, we have a secondary outburst that converts that combo multiplier into crit chance and crit damage. And the build for this is just all for combo count chance and just building combo as fast as possible, so don't really take too much from this build and build it the way you want. If you want to go my way of more combo count chance, I do recommend Quickening and Relentless combination. And one more thing you can do is have on your Archon both primary and secondary dexterity that will also give you an additional 15 seconds of combo duration on top of the one you have already on your Grimoire, and that's why we reach 25 seconds of combo duration. And for your companion, you can use, as I said before, any of the Sentinels, if you like those, like the Nautilus Prime, for example, or any other Sentinel you like. But I do really like my Panzerlupafila because it spreads viral for me passively and quite consistently. Even like when it's dead, it keeps on spreading viral, so it's quite nice. And I also get an additional 1.2x crit damage multiplier from Tenacious Bond, and an additional 30% ability efficiency from Seismic Bond, and this will always be active because Peacemaker is an ability that is considered channeled, and so, well, free ability efficiency, meaning our Peacemaker will cost even less energy, and thanks to this and all the other ways we have to increase duration, we reach the cap, which is, I think it's like 3.75 energy per second while using Peacemaker, So yeah, it's quite cheap and easy to keep up. And for the Panzer, the only requirement is having above 50% crit chance, so just use Bite, and that's pretty much gonna be it. And that is because we want to activate Tenacious Bond, and to do that we need 50% crit chance on our companion. So that was the build. Let's now see how it works. And as always, I'll be testing against 20 Corrupted Heavy Gunners level 230. I forgot my Ulpafila does this. Okay, let me just put the kitty in timeout for now. He'll be back in a second. Okay, 20 fresh enemies. So how to make the build work? Very optional, but you can build the combo multiplier on your melee up to, well, 13x. Takes a few seconds. Then you usually want to cast your Xenoric once again. Both of that, so you gain 20% more power strength. Cast your Nourish, cast your Shooting Gallery, cast your Shatter Shield, and that's all you need to do. Get some other energy if you need, whatever you gotta do. Cast your Regulators, and you have some funny buffs. Let's recast them so we gain those buffs on the Regulators again. And this is what you can do with this weapon. It's quite nice. Let's try that again. Oh yeah, that's very, very good. And this build just gets better the more enemies you kill, because that's how we stack our actual Topaz Archon Shards. So yeah, let's try that. Let me build some combo real quick. Let's cast our Xenoric. Let's recast our Nourish. And yeah, let's just restack our Arcanes a little bit. And now we should be very close to actually having red crits. Of course, you do need the full everything to actually reach red crits. But you can get red crits. There we go. And that's what I love. I just think it's very funny. I'm not saying it's convenient. I'm not saying it's the best way to build your Mesa. I just think it's cool that you can get red crits in Mesa now. And so that's how I'm achieving that. You can probably do that as well by having another Topaz Shard on your Mesa with, of course, more crit chance. But I think using an Arcane that actually gives you a massive amount for free might be better. Actually, we're using 2 Arcanes for that. But yeah, you get the point. It's quite fun. And I just wish Hotshot lasted a little bit longer than what it is right now. It's 10 seconds. It's a bit gimmicky to make use of. But it definitely works. And even without applying viral, like too much viral, thanks to like our Panzer, this is pretty efficient. But yeah, let's get our Panzer out again. They need to have some fun once in a while, so let me just recast my abilities. Let's get some combo real quick. And let's go to town. And of course, if you're wondering about like survivability and how good it is, this is not exactly realistic, but I mean, when everything is dead or has their guns completely jammed, or they deal like 5% of the damage plus adaptation, so it's like no damage at all. Yeah, you should be fine most of the time, and if you're not fine, just roll out of the way and you'll be fine for 3 seconds. You can reposition. And yeah, that's pretty much Mesa Prime. And this Warframe is actually quite fun to play now, and I think if you haven't played Mesa in a lot, this build could make you play Mesa a bit more. I've definitely had my fun using this for more bounties, obviously, but also to like try some other survival Warframes and not just use Inaros and Gauss the whole time. It's actually quite fun, and yeah, I like the spot she's in right now. It's pretty cool. And as always, I'll now leave you guys to the showcase where I test this build for 10 minutes in a Green Steel Pass Survival, so you can see how it performs in a more realistic scenario. If you enjoyed the video, remember to leave a like, and if you like my content, consider subscribing. I'm sorry I didn't post for like a month and a half, but I was playing other games. I did post my like 200 hours in Monster Hunter Wilds, so I mean I've been playing other games as well, so just taking a little break from Warframe because there's not much content, and Foley's update has been kind of lackluster, so I'll just scrap whatever I can from the game to give you guys some more content if that's what you prefer, but definitely expect some other games because yeah, the game is it's not exactly in a great spot right now. But yeah, we'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you so much for watching, and bye bye.
Won't let me forget. I don't know why I let it get to me. It gets to me. 'Cause I think of you every time it rains. One drop is all it takes. And it's pouring, it's pouring, it's pouring. It's pouring, it's pouring, it's pouring, keeps pouring and pouring. I'm screaming at the ceiling, every word's a twisted feeling. Feelings I can't let go. And the thunder keeps calling, the raindrops won't stop falling. Stay forever. Baby, I'm just keeping it real. You hold hold me down on the weather, down on the weather. You hold me down, 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 down. Try to turn it around, but you hold me down, 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 down. 10 feet under the ground. You hold me down, 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 down. I try to turn it around, but you hold me down, 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 down. 10 feet under the ground. You hold me down. If only you and me could sail across the sea, I know that we could be forever wild and free. You never lie to me, I love you endlessly. There ain't no place I'd rather be. You hold me down, 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 down. I try to turn it around. You hold me down, 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 down. 10 feet under the ground. You hold me down, 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 down. I try to turn it around. You hold me down, 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 down. 10 feet under the ground. You hold me down. Till you lose it all and don't get in. When that mob like we're rolling, got you falling on my skin. Take your chance, this is it. Yeah, I know that you wanna quit. Got you hanging on the tip, and you know what for. You just hit on loose, win until it goes again. Loose, win till we good and say you wish. Beat the stories until it's written. The constellations call me feeling dangerous, risk the unseen, face the consequences. Till you lose it all, when you love like you're rolling, got you falling in my skins. Take a chance, this is it.
O 前はもう死んでいる。何？